Borthakur IAS Academy, an endeavor of excellence.
Borthakur IAS Academy.
Hello everyone, welcome to Borthakur's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. I'm your friend Atreyi, and today I'm here with another segment of Current Affairs 365 dated 26th of July 2021. I hope you all are doing well. Please like and share this video and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Facebook as well as Instagram for any news and updates related to civil services examination, and along with that any other Assam state government services. So now, without any further ado, let's get started. So the first news is about the United Nations survey on digital and sustainable trade facilitation 2021. India here has scored significantly better compared to the last year. Okay, there has been a remarkable jump from 78.49% to 90.32%. And coming to this survey, it is conducted every 2 years by the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia Pacific, and it includes an assessment of 58 trade facilitation measures which are covered by the World Trade Organization's Trade Facilitation Agreement. A higher score for a country in this survey, it helps businesses in their investment decisions, and this survey currently covers 143 economies around the globe. For Asia Pacific, this particular survey is conducted by the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia Pacifics. Coming to the assessment of our country, this survey pointed out the improvement in scores on all key 5 indicators, which includes transparency, formalities, institutional arrangement and cooperation, paperless trade and cross-border paperless trade. India has seen to perform better, and is seen as the best performing nation as compared to the South and Southwest Asian countries, along with all the members of the Asia Pacific region. And the overall score of India is also greater than the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development countries. Along with that, the overall score of our country is also greater than the average score of European Union members. The Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, they have played a very significant role here, and it has been at the forefront of path-breaking reforms under the umbrella of Tolerant Customers in order to usher a faceless, paperless and contactless customs by way of series of reforms. Specifically during this COVID-19 pandemic, the custom formations, they have worked to expedite imports of materials like oxygen-related equipments, life-saving medicines, vaccines, etc. Coming to the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, it is a regional development arm of the United Nations, and it has 53 member states and 9 associate members from the Asia Pacific region. India is also a member of this particular unit. It was established in the year 1947 and is headquartered at Bangkok, Thailand. The main objective of this organization is to overcome some of the region's greatest challenges by providing results-oriented projects, technical assistance and capacity building to the member nations. So the second news is related to right to be forgotten. This particular topic will be covered under GS paper 2 under the subtopics of judgments and cases and fundamental rights. Recently, a reality show contestant has approached the Delhi High Court with a plea seeking the removal of his videos, photographs and articles from the internet, citing his right to be forgotten. In this plea, the petitioner maintained that the right to be forgotten is in sync with the right to privacy, which is an integral part of right to life of our Constitution under the Act, Article number 21. Right to be forgotten is the right to have publicly available personal information removed from the internet, search, databases, website or any other public platform once that personal information in question is no longer relevant. And this right gained importance after the 2014 decision of the Court of Justice of European Union in the Google Spain case. This particular right was recognized as a statutory right in the European Union under the General Data Protection Regulation, and it has also been upheld by a number of courts in the United Kingdom and as well as Europe. Coming to its status in India, there is no law that specifically provides for the right to be forgotten, but the Personal Data Protection Bill of 2019 recognized this particular right. Also, the Information Technology Act of 2000 provides for safeguard against certain breaches in relation to data from the computer systems. Now, coming to the relation between Personal Data Protection Bill and the right to be forgotten. In December 2019, the Personal Data Protection Bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha, and it aims to set out provisions meant for the protection of personal data of the individual. Under Clause 20 of Chapter 5 of this draft bill, which was titled as Rights of Data Principle, it mentions this right to be forgotten, and it states that the data principle, that is the person to whom the data is related, shall have the right to restrict and even to prevent continuing disclosure of his personal data by a data fiduciary. A data fiduciary means any person, including the state, a company or any juristic entity who alone or in conjunction with others determines the purpose and means of processing of any personal information or data. Next, we will try to see the balance or the relation between right to privacy and the right to be forgotten. This right to be forgotten, it falls under the purview of an individual's right to privacy, which is governed by the Personal Data Protection Bill of 2019. And in 2017, the right to privacy was declared as a fundamental right by the Supreme Court in its landmark verdict of Puthaswamy case. At that point of time, court said that the right to privacy is protected as an intrinsic part of the right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 and as a part of the freedoms guaranteed by Part 3 of our Indian Constitution. However, there are many challenges related to this particular right. First is conflict with public record. Right to be forgotten may, get into conflict with matters which involves public records. For example, judgments, they have always been treated as public records and they fall within the definition of a public document according to the Section 74 of Indian Evidence Act of 1872. And this right cannot be extended to any official public records, especially when it comes to judicial records, as that would undermine public faith in the judicial system in the long run. Secondly, there might be some confusion between the right to privacy of individuals and the right to information of society and freedom of press as well. So there must be a balance in the right to privacy and protection of personal data under Article 21 along with the freedom of information of internet users under the Article 19. The third news is related to the G20 Energy and Climate Meet. This recently, the G20, in this particular meet, India urged the group of 20 nations having per capita greenhouse gas emissions above the global average to bring it down to the world average, thereby vacating some carbon space for the developing nations. And this will support the developmental aspirations of the developing countries. G20, we all know, it is an informal group of 19 countries and the European Union with representatives of the International Monetary Fund as well as the World Bank. And it does not have any permanent secretariat or headquarters. Coming to this particular meet, India reinforced its stand by pointing out that there is a need to cut absolute emissions rapidly while taking into account the Paris Agreement, which emphasized on the respective historical responsibilities, delivery of promised climate finance and technologies at low cost, keeping in perspective per capita emissions. It also pointed the differences in per capita GDP and the unfinished agenda for sustainable development. India noted the pledges that are made by some of the countries in order to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions or carbon neutrality by mid-century, but this may not be adequate in view of the fast depleting available carbon space. Carbon neutrality, we all know, it is having a balance between the emitting carbon and absorbing carbon from the atmosphere, specifically in carbon sinks. And carbon space is actually the amount of carbon dioxide that can be put into the atmosphere without this leading to a level of warming or underlying concentrations of carbon dioxide that can be considered dangerous or undesirable. Then India also stressed on the CBDR, that is common but differentiated responsibilities to combat climate change. It mentioned its plans of installing 450 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030, enhanced ambitions in biofuels, and lastly, nationally determined contributions along with various other initiatives taken by India on urban climate action. The common but differentiated responsibilities is actually a principle within the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This particular framework, it acknowledges different capabilities and responsibilities of the individual countries in addressing climate change. Coming to India's initiative under the urban climate action, first is the CSCAF initiative, which is Climate Smart Cities Assessment Framework. It intends to inculcate a climate sensitive approach towards urban planning and development in our country. Next is the National Mission on Sustainable Habitat. It is one of the 8 missions under the Climate Change Action Plan. And this particular mission, it aims to make the cities sustainable through improvement in energy efficiency. Thirdly, we have the CPIN, that is Climate Practitioners India Network. It is one of its kind network which has been developed by the Climate Center for Cities to support cities and practitioners of across our country. Government of India in similar lines also launched the Nagar Van scheme in last year 2020. This scheme aims to develop 200 urban forests across the country in the next 5 years. India has also led some global collaborations to fight climate change, which includes International Solar Alliance and the Coalition of Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Next, let us see what is gross environment product. Recently, Uttarakhand government has announced that it will initiate valuation of its natural resources in the form of gross environment product. So this is actually an assessment system to measure the ecological status of a particular region, and it is considered as the product and service value that the ecosystem provides for human welfare and economic and social sustainable development. It includes provisioning, regulating of the cultural ecosystem services. Overall, GEP, it accounts for the economic value of ecosystem in providing products and services, and it is also one of the components of green GDP. Now again, what is this green GDP? It is an indicator of the economic growth with the environmental factors being taken care of. Okay, along with the standard GDP of a country, it factors the biodiversity losses and costs attributed to climate change. Ecosystems can be measured in which are measured actually. They can be of two types: natural ecosystems as well as the artificial systems. Natural ecosystems are the grasslands, wetlands, deserts, forests, etc. Whereas the artificial systems are those which are based on natural processes like farmland, pastures, aquaculture farms, urban greenland, etc. Uttarakhand is a state that has over 71% area under forest. It is the home to Himalayas and also the point of origin of rivers like Ganga, Yamuna and Sharda. Along with that, it also is the home to wildlife reserves like Jim Corbett National Park and the Rajaji Tiger Reserves. Uttarakhand is a state that provides a lot of environment services, and in continuity of this, it has resulted in natural degradation of those particular services. This parameter of gross environment product, the value of this is going to be significant because the value of ecosystem services is about twice as much of the global GDP. So this parameter is going to help in conservation of environment and will also help us save ourselves from the effects of climate change. So this was all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it will be helpful. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll see you all again tomorrow with another segment of Current Affairs 365 only on Borthakur's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. Till then, take care, keep learning. Bye-bye.
Borthakur IAS Academy. প্রস্তুতি আৰু অধ্যয়নৰ নিৰ্ভৰযোগ্য ঠিকনা।
Borthakur IAS Academy.